welcome to Fender Play Live. I'm your host, Eugene Edwards, and today we're talking to a fabulous player that's going to let us in on some of his trade secrets. We also have 2 giveaways today as well, so let's get to it. Please give a big Fender Play Live welcome to Cory Wong. Cory!
What's happening? Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Yeah, we've been waiting a good long time to get you here, and we're really excited. We've got some really fabulous stuff for the audience today. Also, we're joined, as always, by Dr. Dylan Caligiuri. Dylan, say hello.
Hello. It's excellent to be here.
Dylan, Cory, Dylan. All right, there you go.
Yes.
All right, guys. Now, for those of you who I'm sure everybody does know, but for those of you who don't, Cory's a guitarist known for his work with Vulfpeck, the Fearless Flyers, and his solo work. And he just had a signature Strat come out, which we're going to get into later.
Yes.
Now, Cory, let's talk. Well, let's just, that's it, right? Is that it?
This is it. That's right.
Wow.
I'm so stoked about this thing. I could talk about it for hours. We don't have the time now, but it's a dream instrument, and I'm super excited to have it.
We'll look into a 10-part Netflix series on this, actually.
Yes.
So I'm going to get a good deal here. And then, Dylan, what do you have there?
I've got a Seafoam Green Ampro 2 Tele Deluxe. It's I love it because it's got coil taps on it. So this is a
Nice.
beast.
Yeah.
It is a beast. And of course, this is the American original in Fiesta Red, and you guys have already heard it. So because I'm excited to get to Cory because he's got a lot of stuff for us today. Let's get to it. If you have any questions for Cory, please drop them in the comment sections. Now, Cory, in your words, what do we mean when we say rhythm guitar?
Well, there's a lot of ways you could define rhythm guitar, and I guess for different genres it means different things. But in a complete general sense, it's the type of thing that could be, it's guitar parts that help propel the momentum of a song. I guess that's the rhythmic momentum of a song.
I love that the word momentum is key there, I think. So it's like we were talking like in funk, let's say, right? Isn't the moment? Can we hear it's a bit of like funk rhythm guitar when we...
Yeah, so I think something that's very, like there's a lot of different styles of it. So you could do more of a chord style thing, like... And then there's also kind of the... that sort of thing. But then there's also, single note type rhythm guitar that has momentum. So there's a lot of different ways that you could, a lot of different realms you could get into when it comes to rhythm guitar, even just in funk, not to mention, punk rock, hard classic rock, pop music. There's so many different things.
They all have their different subsets, but it seems like maybe momentum is the thing that really binds them all. That's great. And then why would we pursue rhythm over lead? Or in your case, it seems as though you have this hybrid going on of both, right?
Yeah. Well, I think the majority of guitar parts that are recorded are technically rhythm guitar parts. So to me, I've loved playing in the rhythm guitar realm because it's just more, well, first off, I got a lot more work playing rhythm guitar than I did playing lead guitar, which is totally fine. I still get hired to play a lot of lead guitar things when I do session work. But, most guitar parts that are out there are rhythm guitar parts. It might be something as simple as... just that sort of thing that's in the background, or it could be. There's all kinds of different things, like those sort of things that are parts are not always just a lead solo thing. And honestly, I think that in today's world, we celebrate, pop music, radio music, the general public, I think in a lot of ways doesn't celebrate the guitar solo the same way that it did in the 1980s.
Sure.
And even
we talk about that
into parts of the 1990s. So I think it's important to really put a lot more focus on the rhythm because that's also just kind of what's out there right now. And like that's kind of the guitar use in the zeitgeist even. you know?
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Yes, it's really the big thing right now, overwhelmingly in pop music, is rhythm. Really, it's not. I mean, we're not hearing maybe the harmonic changes that we heard when Paul Simon was you know, at the top of the charts in the 70s. Fine, things just move on. So yeah, emphasizing rhythm, that's a great point. You can actually take part in so much more music right now if you think towards rhythm. That's a very, very, very practical and very inspiring thing to hear.
Yeah.
I know that you clearly you speak very efficiently about guitar, and I love some of the stuff where you talk about it and your techniques and things. Can we pick your brain a bit about some healthy practice routines that will help us specifically with our rhythm? Because I think a lot of students kind of let that slide a bit.
Absolutely. When practicing guitar in general and when practicing rhythm more specifically, I like to think about two different realms. One is the actual physicality of what I'm playing, and then the mental awareness of what's happening in the timing and the intonation and the note choices. In this case with rhythm, I want to focus on, of course, the physicality, because that's, you just kind of can't get past that. But I want to focus on the mental awareness of our rhythm. So there are certain things that we can do to practice our mental awareness. And that those two worlds together are what forms our idea of what execution is.
Okay.
Right? So, for example, what I'll do is I'm just going to pull up my metronome here. Here's a metronome at 120 beats per minute. Okay?
Yep.
And I'm going to turn down my guitar a little bit just so you can good. But
that's good.
Basically, I'm going to play something, and the physicality is going to, well, I'll show you this. Here's the metronome at 120 beats per minute, and I'm just going to play that kind of E7 thing that I was doing. Okay, whatever. I'm playing at 120 beats per minute. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself half the amount of accountability with the metronome. And what it does is it makes my mental awareness have to focus in twice as hard.
Interesting.
Because although I had an accountability point on every quarter note right here, every quarter note that hits, I hear and make micro adjustments on whether I'm a little bit ahead or a little bit behind, right? That's kind of how we learn to play with the metronome. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take away beats 1 and 3. And the reason why I take away beats 1 and 3 is because I think of it like the snare drum.
Right.
So I'm going to play the exact same thing. The physicality part of my execution is the exact same. My mental awareness, my mental focus now has to be double because I have half the amount of accountability. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So I'm playing the exact same thing as far as the physical realm, but as far as my mental awareness goes and my focus goes, I have to be twice as locked in. And then the pro version of that is put your metronome at 30 beats per minute. And what I like to do is I just put it at you could put it on beat 1, but I think for fun, I like to do it on beat 4. Okay. So now it's 4 times the amount of mental focus that it takes from what it did before. So if I add 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
That's great.
Yeah.
You made yourself accountable for all that space in between the actual time we heard the metronome. What a great, I feel a homework assignment coming up. We'll get to that later. Dylan?
Yeah. No, we should mention if anybody's watching right now that wants to work with a metronome, the Fender Tune Amp has a fantastic way to access the metronome. Also, a bunch of different drum beats in here too, where you can hear that snare Cory was just talking about. That's pretty killing, right? So yeah, check out the Fender Tune app for more metronome.
That was the Belle Biv DeVoe snare, wasn't it?
Well, I programmed that one.
Oh, that was you. Okay.
Kind of like the Superstition beat, though.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Aren't they all?
2 BPM faster, yeah.
So we have a couple of questions already. Sherry Hoyer, who's on the Fender Play community on Facebook.
Yeah.
Are riffs and bass runs considered to be part of rhythm guitar?
I would think so, totally. And that's also it's also something where it kind of weaves into the lead thing. Now, I think what gets misconstrued is oftentimes people think that, rhythm is just something that's like in the background, right? It doesn't have to be that sort of thing. A lot of times the rhythm section can be something in the forefront.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between lead, there's a difference between hooks, there's a difference between stuff in the background.
Yep.
And a rhythm guitar part can be the hook of a song.
Sure.
And a rhythm riff can be a lead thing. I mean, listen to like almost every Rage Against the Machine song.
Right.
The riffs are rhythmic. That, like, by our definition of rhythm guitar, those riffs kind of propel the rhythmic momentum, but they're also kind of hooky things, and they're kind of the lead accompaniment for whatever's happening. Listen to Led Zeppelin, you listen to even, Green Day, like Welcome to Paradise by Green Day, or you listen to, I don't know. There's so many different genres that it can cross too.
That's a great point. I mean, I was thinking of that single note line in Billie Jean.
Yeah.
But it's really about the rhythm of it more than the melody in a way. And of course they push in that mix, and it just serves this momentum purpose, back to that word, I suppose.
Yeah.
Now, of course, everyone pays attention to your right hand.
Sure.
Because it's distinctive and it's eye catching. Shapuhi Films is asking, what gauge pick would you recommend for playing rhythm, Cory?
I think that depends on the person. So for me, what I use these Dava picks. Mm-hmm. It's like a medium. I don't know if my camera's going to focus on it.
I'll just take it from you. Oh, sorry. They are. The tip of it is probably kind of like a heavy pick, but because it's got a rubber grip, it actually responds a little more medium. I got
so
you.
It gives me a little bit of a meaty hook, but it responds a little more. It's got a little more flimsiness to it.
Well, yes, and I can hear even just in Zoom. I can hear the rake of it.
Yeah.
I can hear the rake of it almost, and so all of a sudden it almost does have this snare-like quality, depending on what you're. And also,
let's do a shootout.
Let's go for it. Yes, okay, there you go. Okay,
here's a .46.
Oh, okay. All right.
Very thin. This is going to be really floppy. You're going to hear a lot of. You're going to hear it. Okay, the next one, I don't know. This is this one doesn't say what it is. This is a light pick, a little bit heavier. Okay, here's a medium. That one feels a little more comfortable in my hands.
Yeah.
Here's a heavy.
It's even coming through the compression, you can tell. I can.
Yeah. And then here's one that's like super stiff. I don't know what it is. It's just something. Right. Yeah. It's hard to be as nuanced, and it actually is sliding around on my fingers. I'm not helping it. Yeah. And then here's the pick that I use. So it has the medium feel, but the shonk of like a medium heavy. So I think it depends on the person, but like I know one of the funkiest guitar players in the world is Mark Lettieri, and he plays a pick that's quite a bit thicker than mine. He's the other guitar player in Fearless Flyers. Theo in Vulfpeck plays with a medium pick. And when I for a while was trying different types of picks. When I was taking lessons from John Harrington from Steely Dan, he was saying he uses for anything that rhythm guitar, anything where it's like kind of playing chords, he used a Fender medium teardrop. But everything else, he used like a Jazz 3 or something, or
interesting.
whatever.
The teardrop is interesting because it's less surface area. But
I think that was just for him a preference.
That's tough. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned Vulfpeck. We have a Cory Wong collection on the Fender Play site. We have 4 of your songs, 2 of your solo tunes for your solo career, and 2 Vulfpeck. And what can you tell us about, for instance, just the syncopation in the riff to Cosmic Sands?
I think for me, the syncopation comes down to having your right hand motor consistent. And the way that I think the motor, the helicopter blade, whatever you want to call it. For me, so much of what I do, it's my right hand, the motor is the exact same. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a. It's always the down, 16th. The 1 and the and, or the downbeat, the number and the and are downstrokes. The E's and the U's are always upstrokes.
Correct.
So if you have your motor going, if you have that motor motion, you technically, then you just decide on when to hit the strings and when it's a chuck or when it's an actual note. So with Cosmic Sands, I'm going. So the downstrokes, the upstrokes, they're all kind of the same to me. The most important thing is just having that motor going and then having the control on when to press down. So although, a lot of people focus on like, oh my gosh, your right hand on that song, it's so great. It's like, okay, sure, I appreciate that. I think people can admire the consistency of it, and my right hand looks weird when I play, I know, so maybe that has something to do with it. No. But really, actually, to be honest, there's so much more nuance in the left hand. Because if you just look at my left hand, you actually have to, I have to go, There's actually a lot more nuance in the left hand. The right hand's really just kind of going, between when to chuck and when it's a note, it's such a slight thing.
And there's so much squeeze and release in your fret hand. That's it's almost like a Morse code that you're tapping out there. In fact, we have
totally.
Stacy A. Brooks is asking, how does his wrist do that? So but like this is it extremely? Do you keep yourself really, really relaxed? How much is the elbow? I mean, is that it? Is that the key, or what's the? I mean, I think you probably get asked that all the time.
Yeah, I watch a lot of people do things and they try to go pretty stiff, or they'll try to go a lot of elbow. And to me, whenever I'm playing in anything, I know right now I'm not using the most proper sitting technique, but I always try to think upstream. Start upstream, meaning start at the top of your arm. Relax your shoulder. Okay, sit with, normally I like to sit with good posture. Okay, relax my arm as much as I can, like in sitting position, a playing position. I'll relax my shoulder, relax my tricep, relax my bicep. Okay, relax everything in my elbow and my forearm. Okay, and then relax my wrist. Okay, so that keeps everything loose. So if I think upstream, it helps keep everything else loose, because even if I have a loose wrist and I'm really flexing up here, it kind of messes up. What ends up happening is it makes it so I can't do it as long. But because everything else is so loose upstream, I'm actually able to keep my stamina up really well. But it is about having a really loose wrist. So if even when you go fast, because as soon as you bring tension into it, that's where you start to get injury. So for me, there's a difference between working your muscles to kind of fatigue, almost like you're working out, and then there's the other side of it is just carrying a lot of tension, and where you get those repetitive use injuries.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's what's right.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny, the key to relaxing, because Dylan and I haven't been relaxing since we were like 11 years old.
It's
It's a very helpful tip. No, we also have something about those. Personally, I love those double stops in Deantown.
Yeah.
They make up an interesting melody, and it carefully lines up with the keyboard part. Any tips on using double stops in an interesting way? Because I think you do. I think you sprinkle, like you never overuse them, but they're quite fundamental. These really interesting melodies that you have.
Well, thanks.
Yeah.
I think with that one, what I was trying to do is really, because that song was written by Woody, the keyboard player. And in the demo, he had that sort of...
Yeah.
Yeah, so, it's... I was kind of mimicking that on the instrument or on the guitar, but without outlining all of the harmony, because it seemed unnecessary for me to outline the entire chord shape because it felt a little bit too thick.
Sure.
Just like sometimes I wouldn't go, which I see a lot of beginner funk guitar players do. They play this.
All of them. Right.
It's like, okay, it's kind of there, but what might be better is
Right.
just playing a few of the notes or a couple notes, maybe, and letting the other instruments kind of fill in some of that other information.
Yeah.
So because I like to reduce a lot of my voicings, I end up with a lot of double stop stuff. So, I might be playing, a chord progression might be just E, C sharp minor. Well, let's go to A. So let's go. Okay, so I could go. Sorry, or whatever,
Yep.
So I'm all of a sudden, I'm outlining half of the harmony. I'm doing some rhythmic momentum, but I'm also doing something that, to me, I try to come up with something that does feel like a hook, like in Deantown. Something that is kind of singable, and what I've noticed is when I play guitar parts that are more like hooks, they end up louder in the mix.
Interesting.
This is a nice way to get yourself out front. It's interesting because what I'm learning is that your double stops don't come from, well, here's the single note melody, let me find a harmony to it. You're actually reducing from 6 strings, and you're actually reducing down to the double stop, which is
I'm trying to find where the melody is within that, and sometimes it does come from a melody line. If the line is like just generic, I might go.
Yep.
So I'll harmonize underneath just to give it a little bit of an extra...
Another dimension. Now, we don't want to sound needy, but our transcription team, I swear, our transcription team wanted to hear you play Deantown. Do you mind?
That's fine.
These folks spent a lot of time with it.
We have not played since September 28th, I believe was the date. 27th of 2019.
Wow.
Our Madison Square Garden gig. So I still got it. Yeah.
All right.
In the middle there. Been a minute. You know, I should have practiced it.
What's funny is when you play, it's inherent, and when you play, is that I want to kind of move my body and dance along, and then with the Zoom thing, I'm going to be out of time, and so I'm trying to I'm going to look like a mess. Dylan too, quite frankly. We have a few more questions before we get to talking about your signature Strat.
But by the way, on that song, Joe and I have different fingerings. I play it in different spots. In a couple of the spots, we play in different things, and he goes. He uses the open A, where I play fretted. There's a couple spots where we're not like there's just whatever.
You guys just naturally play. You can play the exact same passage and physically play it in a different way.
Yeah. There's just a couple spots where I play it up here, and he might be down here, but on the adjacent string or whatever.
We'll let the transcription team do their own digging
I
on that. But thank you for indulging us.
They can
on
probably
that.
play it better than me right now because I haven't played it in almost 2 years.
No, it's weird to take that time off. Believe me, I recall. James Foster's asking a newbie question: how do you keep the strings from squealing when you slide up and down those lower strings? I mean, the wound strings. I think he's probably getting a lot of string side sound. Do you have any tips for kind of helping reduce that a bit? Or maybe you don't like to reduce it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think I try to keep my fingers. So I use hand lotion every day. Okay. So if my fingers are really dry, then I actually notice for me, some people maybe are the opposite. Now, I'm also kind of an anomaly because my hands literally do not sweat. Can't think of a time in my life when my hands have sweat.
Wow.
Okay.
They are not, I don't have acidic, oily hands at all. I have friends, like I can go literally 4 months without changing my strings.
Jeez.
That makes sense. Did you have your glands removed? How'd you do this? This is great.
Glandless.
He's a wonder of science.
No, but I'm dead serious. I
believe you.
I can literally play probably after about 3 months. It's like, oh, okay, you know, the tone is changing. But one of my friends will pick up my guitar and sit in on a song one night. Like one song, one night. I'm like, oh my gosh, the strings are toast. The strings are just done. And like, they're disgusting. And all of a sudden out of nowhere, it's just like, there's like rust on them. And
tetanus
like
shot.
Sediment, you know? Yeah. But for me, I keep my hands kind of moisturized, but also I think when it comes to string noise, again, and there's so much nuanced how much you're squeezing, maybe just let off the strings a little bit.
There you go. All right, James, moisturize and just relax a little bit. Zeal Plays Bass is asking, amongst a lot of people, your preferred pickup. What's your position on the Strat there?
Come on, fourth position.
I feel like I can hear. Yeah, exactly. Out of phase and towards the bridge, man.
Neck and middle. Neck and middle is fourth position. And actually, that's one of the fun things that I did with the signature guitar is that I have a fourth position panic button. Because a lot of times when I'm playing...
Some people have a panic room.
Yes. So check this out. Okay, panic button is off. I'm in fourth position. I'm going to play. My hand just hit the pickup selector. All of a sudden I go out. Now I hit the panic button. No matter where the pickup selector is, no matter where that sucker is, I'm in fourth position.
This is phenomenal. This is great.
That's, yeah.
So it's
okay. So a couple. Okay, first of all, I did wonder when I watch you play. I did wonder how does he not knock? Now I'm a telly guy, so it can be as brutal as. And even I usually the top hat switch just goes flying into the night.
Yeah.
And I was watching you play. I was thinking, well, his right hand is much more extreme than mine. So that solves that. Also, this leads us into talking about your model guitar because I'm always fascinated by. Because every one of these signature instruments it has innovations all over, and usually it's the mother invention being necessity. So that you're thrilling me with that. The panic button is such an extreme, but
thank you.
It makes sense. It makes all the sense in the world. So now we're going to be announcing the winner of the Cory Wong Strat later towards the end of this episode. So it'd be fun to chat about it now and show it off a bit. So what can you tell us about your Strat? We already know about the panic button, but what?
Yes. So to me, the guitar that I've been playing a lot that I've had since high school.
Okay, so
is this Highway 1, right? Mm-hmm. It's a Highway 1 Strat, and
it's got a little bit of
it's been beat up from my punk rock days.
Yeah,
throwing it against cymbals and drum sets.
Yeah.
Now the thing about this Strat. it's a great Stratocaster, but I've put a lot of mods on it. Like I redid the nut, the frets, the bridge, the pickups, the wiring, literally pretty much everything about it I redid.
Sure.
Now, when I got it, it was the American-made Strat that I could afford at the time. Right, so the Highway one was a kind of an entry-level American-made guitar. It was like I think the cheapest American-made Strat at the time. So it's what I could afford. Over the years, it was just my guitar. I loved the way it felt. So I just did all the necessary mods to kind of make it more pro and whatever.
Okay, as you went along, as you just kept,
yeah. And when Fender and I were talking about designing this guitar, they said, "Do you want to just do like an exact replica, everything?" I was like, I love that guitar because it's been with me since I was a teenager, but no, I'd rather I actually have some other preferences. I think there's a lot of modern features that could be really cool. So a lot of the features I took from the Ultra. So a lot of people, many people will feel this guitar and the neck will feel most like an Ultra. Okay. It's the modern D-shaped neck, the contoured radius, and to help with intonation. For me, that has helped enormously. As soon as I got this neck, I was all of a sudden playing way more in tune than that guitar.
Sure, and you'd be so confident going up the neck, especially
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
Everything.
And then this sort of contoured heel, where it's not just the right angle block, you know. Right. So you see this is like a right angle block. This one has a little curve to it, and the body kind of curves and contours into it, which gives a really nice feel. So when I go up the neck, it's not like my wrist hits that right angle, which is the vintage style, which is great. But for me, I wanted this easy access. So when right when I go up there, I just want to be able to, because I want to be able to have all the nuanced motion in there and all the little things that, without having to readjust my hand in case of the block. So this is out of the way.
Right.
Yeah.
Smart. Really smart.
Locking tuners, which I love having. That is kind of a new thing for me. Also helps with the intonation, and it strings a lot faster.
Yep.
For that time every 3 months when I change my strings. And there is I developed with Seymour Duncan a set of signature Cory Wong Clean Machine pickups. So
do you mind sampling each pickup for us?
Yep. So here's fifth position. Here's fourth position.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's third.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, that's digging.
Yeah, and what I wanted with third position, I wanted it to feel like a telly.
Well,
so third position, all of a sudden, this sounds more like a telly than any other Strat. So
that's great.
That's what I wanted out of third position. Second position. Then first. I also wanted this one a little more telly-like.
It's very snappy.
Yeah, it's snappy.
And it's a little thicker than your average single coil, partially because it's a stacked humbucker.
Gotcha.
Now, I love the look of the SSS,
yes,
the single. But for me, in what I do, I've always felt like the bridge pickup I want it to be thicker. I want it to have a little more meat. So with this pickup, I just found that it helped blend a little more with the other ones.
Wow.
And just the tonal qualities, the tonal characteristics.
But you're right, the single look, the sleekness
totally.
of the three singles.
Yeah.
I'm with it. We have one last question here with the remaining time we have left. Jason O is asking, is there a preferred string size for rhythm versus lead playing?
You know, the thing is, I've thought about this a lot. I use 10s. I use Slinky 10s or M Steel 10s, Ernie ball strings. I know that Prince was using 9s. And Prince is a lot of people know Prince as a lead guitar player. Listen back and just focus on the rhythm guitar and you'll be blown away.
Yeah.
One of the funkiest rhythm guitar players of all time. I know that Mayer was using 9.5s for a while.
Wow.
Gotcha.
And might still be. And 10.5s actually too for a little bit. But I think it's really a preference thing on how hard you hit.
Gotcha.
And how strong your hands are, and leave the ego out of that. Like, it doesn't mean like you're better because you play thicker strings. Like your tone is just going to be different. So for me, I was playing on 13s for a while because I heard, Stevie Ray Vaughan plays 13s. Okay, it's like, man, my fingers hurt. This sucks.
Yeah.
Then I was like, all right, I'm going to play 12s because I like jazz. Okay. 12s, nah. It just wasn't like, there is a certain thickness to some types of playing, and if you're not bending a lot, whatever. But for me, I found that with 10s, it really just gets a certain amount of snap, but also is thick enough. Like I tried 9s, and they're cool. There is a certain type of looseness to them. But they just didn't have the fullness. So I like Slinky 10s because there's a bendability to them and there's a roundness to them, but they're thick enough as far as the sound to be able to carry nice sustain.
There's a story, that B.B. King had picked up one of Billy Gibbons' guitars and played a bit, and he says, "Oh, young man, you're working too hard." And B.B. King was using 8s, so now that's what Billy Gibbons uses.
Oh, wow.
You're right. No ego. It's just put that aside. Get the thing that makes you sound great and doesn't overtax your body. That's great advice. Now, Abby is asking, who are your rhythm guitar influences? Who should we check out?
Okay, there's some that might be obvious. I'm going to give you the ones that aren't obvious.
That'd be great.
Because the obvious ones, your Prince, Nile Rodgers, James Valentine. I grew up listening to a lot of Maroon 5 and John Mayer, so there's a lot of that sort of thing that I love. But the less obvious ones would be Paul Jackson Jr., Dave Williams.
Who was Dave Williams with?
Well, I'll just leave it at those two.
Okay. There you go.
And Al McKay. I'll give you Al McKay for Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah,
now, Dave Williams played a lot. He was a session player, played on a lot of Michael Jackson stuff. He played on a lot of other stuff with David Foster. There's an Aretha record, I think, that Foster produced that Dave Williams played on. But he's on a lot of session things.
So clearly an LA guy. Great.
Yeah, insane player.
Yeah.
Really interesting. And then Paul Jackson Jr., he's another one. He's one that got me really excited about rhythm guitar because I could hear the hooks. I could hear the just sweetness of interesting parts in his playing when I started paying attention. And then Al McKay with Earth, Wind, and Fire, just the feel, the note choices, all that stuff. Those three. Al is a little less influenced than Prince on me, and maybe that's because I'm from Minneapolis and whatever. But those would be the three that are a little less obvious. That
names.
People should get into.
Especially the session guys are fun because you're gonna wind yourself into different genres, different artists, different production styles, and you're gonna find a commonality. That's a great tip. Can we, before we get to the homework, which you are going to sign, can we hear one last playing example before homework? Dealer's choice, whatever you feel like just jamming on. Just play.
Okay. Here's this rhythm thing that I've been working on. I'll just show you something. There's something that looks deceiving. If you watch my picking hand, it's almost like there's an extra note that you're not picking that, but I am. Try to figure it out.
And you're not using any delay. It's a dry
Correct.
signal.
Yeah, I'm just going direct. Yeah.
Yep. I love it. That deep swinging pocket, and then this triplet thing comes. You set it up with a triplet thing, and then go back to it. That's slick. That's actually, I think that's a bit country myself, but maybe.
It is. It is a little bit country.
So but it sounds like country with a slapback delay, which you're not using. So that is very, very clever. Well, that's now video evidence now, so everyone's going to try and investigate that and try and mimic it. Okay, so now let's go back to those 3 different ways of practicing with the metronome. We're going to assign this as the homework. You had that beginner, immediate, advanced level. Can you just show us that one more time, and then Dylan's going to start giving away gear.
Okay, so find a metronome. For me, whatever metronome app, whatever. Yeah. Put it at 120 beats per minute. You have accountability every quarter note.
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Play or put it. You could put it at 100 beats per minute. Whatever song you want to practice. Find some sort of thing. So here's Sorry, I'm rushing bad there. I'm going to start that over.
I'm excited too.
Okay, so I have accountability every quarter note. That's your kind of beginner level thing. Practice with a metronome. When you hear the click happen, make the micro adjustment. Pay attention. Hone in your mental awareness of whether you're a little bit ahead or whether you're behind. When I was starting there, man, I was rushing. Fine. And I'm still, for whatever reason, I'm feeling it a little bit ahead of the beat. Okay, then intermediate, do it on 2 and 4. Same exact physicality. Okay, take it advanced. Give your metronome just beat 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same physicality. Internalize the time. Even just start by just.
Yep.
My volume was down. So lock into that sort of thing. Give yourself less accountability as far as the time goes, because it's going to force you to be more mentally focused on the grid.
Cory, you're a wonder, man. I'm telling you, you're doing great things for people out there. These are, it's the practicality of how you speak about guitar and rhythm that I think makes you a very, very special cat in this scene. I swear, it's just such great valuable stuff you're giving us, and I really, really appreciate your time and attention on this. Dylan, are you ready? Dylan's going to start giving away some gear here. Dylan, it's your turn to shine, buddy.
Absolutely.
I got a piece of gear to give away too.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. He's okay. Dylan's going to give something away, and then it's your turn.
I got a nice piece of gear.
Yeah, so
you get one of these Stratocasters.
Watch out.
All right, Dylan, go ahead.
So, every week we give away a piece of gear on the show. If you haven't watched before, we give away guitars, basses, amplifiers, all kinds of different gear. All you have to do is be a member of Fender Play and use it for 3 7-minute sessions or 21 minutes total. And you're automatically entered to win, and then hopefully I get to say your name at the end of the show. Do you guys want to hear who won the Fender Play giveaway this week?
Sure do. I'll give you a little drum roll on the... There you go.
Here we go. Ryan D. Ryan D. Oh. Wow.
Way to go, Ryan. Way to go.
Why didn't you play a D?
I don't know.
You know what?
Let's do it again. Ryan D.
Ryan, we're sorry about that. We'll work on that, Ryan. Thanks.
Right, I don't know why. I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking about timing, and I didn't think about the harmony whatsoever.
That's all right.
That's the influence you've had on me, Cory.
Yeah. It was locked in.
Ryan, way to go. When you get your new guitar bass amp, make sure you play a big D chord. Now, this was not the Cory Wong Strat giveaway. We're going to get to that in a minute. What else do you have for us, Dylan, though, before we get to that?
We've got tons of new songs on the site this week. Tons new. There's always new skills. A lot of the stuff that Cory was talking about, being able to stop sound with this hand or being able to engage in particular muting and different ways of doing that, those are all unpacked on the site. Check out Stopping Sound with Strum Hand. and fret hand. But new songs on the site include I should mention the Cory Wong collection. He has his own collection.
That's
so
right.
That's when you've stepped up. That's right.
That's a big deal.
And
that's cool.
We even have, for his songs actually on the site, we built out a bunch of different playtones, which are, if you own a Mustang, you can use these playtones on your amp. You can download them, and we've got one for a Cosmic Sam.
Nice.
So just right at home, you'll be able to cover his tone, within the best of the ability there.
All right, just straight off the cuff here, just spitballing here. How about this? Anybody who nails all 4 of the songs, put you in a little special giveaway.
Wow,
his feed for us. Wow, just
that's a cliffhanger though.
That's a cliffhanger though. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, I'll keep going. He'll come back. He'll come back.
Yeah.
So we've also got Fake Plastic Trees, Radiohead.
Oh, wait, there he is.
Are we back?
You're back.
You are. What a great time. That was perfect.
Did I really just cliffhang you like that?
It was a cliffhanger.
I thought you were doing a gag because it was right when you were about to announce what you're going to give away. It was perfect. No, it was better. It was even better.
All right, I meant to do it.
Yes.
Whoever can rock all 4. I'm gonna have Dylan or one of you guys to come at me. Let me know. Enter into a thing or hit me on social media. I can whatever. Free tickets plus backstage pass.
Wow.
Any gig on the next tour. How about that?
You
heard it here, folks.
Even at Red Rocks? This is incredible.
Wow. Come at me, bro.
We'll set it up. Hey, man, we'll organize this thing. You had the spirit. We have the ways. That's all it takes.
I want to see somebody nail all 4 tunes.
And by the way, be ready to play it for this man because he's going to be hip to whether you can do it or not.
That's right.
Dylan, okay, that was Cory. Wow. Okay, above and beyond.
That's big. That's big.
Dylan, what other songs do you have?
Radiohead. We got 9 new songs that were just added. Fake Plastic Trees, Call Me the Breeze. There's like a Ball and Chain by Social Distortion. I don't know if you guys remember that album.
That's
I
right.
do, of
Yeah.
course. It's an unforgettable album.
Oh, yeah.
You guys got to check it out. There's tons of new stuff on there. You always check out the skills tab, use the search bar, and get playing.
Okay, thank you so much, Dylan. This is very exciting because the giveaways don't stop here. We've come to the end of the show, and that means it's time that we're going to announce the winner of the brand new Cory Wong Stratocaster. Cory, will you help us out with the winner? This is you, buddy. This is it. You give it away. You're the guy.
Somebody is about to win. Cory Wong Signature Fender Stratocaster. Because of their hard work and minutes put in this last week, hopefully hours actually, a minimum of a certain amount of minutes, that winner is... Neil I.
Played
Wow.
a D this time. Not for just play a D.
There is no I chord.
There's no
I know. I was going to play. I guess
Yeah.
Ionian, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Neil I. You did it. Neil, congratulations.
Neil, amazing.
Neil, congrats.
I don't know how. Yeah.
Well, listen, this has been a thin slice of heaven. A huge thank you, as I said, to Cory for helping us with this deep dive into rhythm and all the practical tips, the homework, the gear you've given away, the chance to hang out with you. Tremendous stuff. We want to hear what you have coming up, buddy.
I have a tour that will hopefully be happening. In October, I'll be in Europe, and in November, West Coast US, January, February, East Coast Midwest in the US. And I have this super duper awesome new Stratocaster you can see at fender.com/Cory Wong.
Yeah.
Check it out. I hope you all buy 3 of them.
You know what? Why not? Why not? They all come with a panic. You can't have too many panic buttons.
For my dog.
Yeah. Get one for the dogs, for the neighbors.
That's right.
I love it. All right, Cory, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time, man. I hope to see you out there on the road.
Thanks for having me.
For everybody else, keep safe, keep practicing. We'll see you next week at the same time, same bat channel. Everybody, Dylan, let's give Cory a big G chord for him to go out on.
A bed of G. Yes,
a bed of
right.
G. 1, 2, 3, 4.